There's a strange feeling you get after scrolling for too long. Time starts to stretch, then collapse. Images blur into each other, and nothing quite holds its weight. It's not just distraction, it's disorientation, as if reality itself has thinned out. And what's unsettling is that this feeling isn't new. It was painted almost a century ago, long before screens existed, not as a prediction, but as a way of seeing a world where logic quietly breaks apart. Surrealism didn't begin as a style, it began as a problem. After the chaos of World War I, reality itself felt unreliable. Artists like Salvador Dalí and René Magritte weren't trying to escape the world. They were trying to expose what was already unstable within it. Their goal wasn't beauty or accuracy, it was honesty. And honesty, they believed, lived in the irrational. At the center of surrealism was an idea borrowed from psychology, that the conscious mind is only a surface. Influenced by thinkers like Sigmund Freud, the movement treated dreams not as illusions, but as access points. Through automatic writing, strange juxtapositions, and dream logic, they tried to bypass reason entirely. What emerged wasn't chaos, it was a different kind of order, one that felt disturbingly familiar. Now compare that to how we experience the world today. Not in sequences, but in fragments. A video cuts into another before it finishes. A joke interrupts a tragedy. A face dissolves into an ad. There is no beginning or end, only interruption. The internet doesn't move forward. It loops, jumps, overlaps. It behaves less like reality and more like a mind wandering through itself. In the persistence of memory, time doesn't tick, it melts. It loses structure, becomes soft, unreliable. At the time it felt absurd, but today it feels accurate. Hours disappear without friction. The past resurfaces without warning. The future arrives instantly. We don't experience time anymore. We drift through it. This is the real shift. Not technological, but perceptual. The clock didn't change. Our relationship to it did. The infinite scroll removes endings. And without endings, nothing feels complete. Every moment becomes replaceable. And slowly, that erodes meaning. Then there's AI. Images that feel almost human, but not quite. Faces that seem aware, yet hollow. This discomfort is often called the uncanny valley. But surrealism understood it long before machines. The tension comes from recognition without certainty, when something mirrors reality but refuses to fully belong to it. What AI generates isn't entirely artificial. It's a distortion of everything we've already made. A collage of human data, reassembled without intention. In that sense, it behaves exactly like a surrealist process. Not creating from nothing, but rearranging fragments of reality until something unfamiliar emerges. Even our spaces have changed. Liminal environments, empty offices, endless hallways, silent malls feel unsettling, not because they are strange, but because they are almost familiar. Context is missing. Purpose is unclear. And without context, reality begins to loosen. At the same time, everything becomes louder, brighter, faster. The internet compresses extremes into seconds. Joy, fear, absurdity, all stacked together. What we call brain rot isn't meaningless. It's what happens when the mind stops trying to organize what it sees. It gives up and starts absorbing. Surrealists called this the marvelous, the shock of seeing ordinary things placed in impossible relationships. Today, that same logic defines internet culture. A serious event becomes a meme. A meme becomes a philosophy. Context collapses, and meaning shifts constantly. Nothing stays stable long enough to be fully understood. So the anxiety we feel isn't accidental. It's structural. We are navigating a system that mirrors the deepest, most unstable parts of human perception, without the pause, without the silence, without the distance needed to process it. And this is where surrealism becomes more than relevant. It becomes necessary. not as an explanation, but as a lens. If the world feels irrational, maybe clarity isn't the goal anymore. Maybe understanding comes from accepting the fragmentation, not resisting it. Because maybe nothing is wrong with you. Maybe the world has simply become too complex, too layered, too strange to be experienced as a single, stable reality. And the only honest response is the one surrealism offered from the beginning. Not to fix the chaos, but to recognize it as truth.